allowed to have Rush Limbaugh and the EIB network. So Herman Cain announces this morning, yesterday was his biggest fundraising day ever. He said this on the Headline News Network, which used to be CNN's Headline News, but is now just Headline News. Even Headline News doesn't want to be known as being associated with CNN. He also said that he's not changed his story at all, that he just got the wording right. Now, the media claims that we on the right only like Cain to prove that we aren't racists. That's the theme. You and I, anybody else, coming to Herman Cain's defense because we see, we're coming to the defense of the black guy, and that means we're not racist like you people always say we are. That's not what this is about. Because we know we're not racists, and we're not on a life mission to prove it to anybody. The real racism in this country exists in the Democrat Party anyway, and it surfaces in an ugly way constantly, frequently, often, as it did during the 2008 presidential campaign. No, this is due strictly to outrage and what is perceived accurately as totally being unfair. Even if Herman Cain did this, as they say, they still build Bill Clinton up as a hero in the Democrat Party. And I don't care whatever the worst that's been alleged about Herman Cain is, it doesn't even compare to what we know factually happened with Bill Clinton and a number of women. And so the very holier-than-thou reporters on the left who are acting shocked and outraged, how could this happen in this modern era, this kind of blatant sexual harassment, trying to destroy Herman Cain, and we know that's what they're trying to do. The very same people put on a hero pedestal William Jefferson Clinton. The lack of fairness is quite obvious. It's nothing more complicated than that. It's actually very simple. And then that leads to outrage. And people are willing to defend Herman Cain against the assault on principle because they recognize it for what it is. It's yet another attempt by the state-controlled media to determine who our nominee is, to take out our people. Pure and simple. We had the soundbite yesterday from October 28th. The Democrat strategist Karen Finney, who I think at one time was big in the Clinton administration. She said Republicans are supporting Herman Cain because of his race. She said one of the things about Herman Cain is I think that he makes the white Republican base of the party feel okay, like they're not racist, because they can like this guy. I think he's giving that base a free pass, and I think they like him because they think he's a black man who knows his place. I know that's harsh, but that's how it sure seems to me. She's a member of the Democrat National Committee. And, in fact, that kind of symbolic demonstration, that kind of show is what the Democrats do. So we have another case of projection here. Back to the audio soundbites. This morning on Scarborough's show on MSNBC, Mark Halperin from Time Magazine is a guest, and they discuss all this. Scarborough said, do you think Herman Cain's numbers will slightly go up? Why will the numbers go slightly up? What do you think is going to happen here?
What's fueling Herman Cain, what has fueled his rise is an anti-Washington, anti-liberal establishment rallying around someone who has the right profile for that sentiment in the party. And there's a lot of conservative voices, Rush Limbaugh and others out there saying this is an attack on our guy because he's rising so much.
Well, it's partially because he's rising so much. You know, I'm getting more and more emails. It's not even because he's rising so much. I'll tell you what it is. It's like I said yesterday. And please don't doubt me on this. The reason this looks just like Clarence Thomas is because it is. And the reason this looks just like Marco Rubio is because it is. And the reason this looks just like Alberto Gonzalez is because it is. Blacks and Hispanics who rise and achieve to the top of their professions as Republicans will not be permitted. They must be taken out. That can only happen in the Democrat Party. Only in the Democrat Party will a black or a minority be allowed, be permitted, without fight, to appear on the Supreme Court, sit on the Supreme Court, the Attorney General, run for the presidency, or what have you. An achieved independent minority, like a Herman Cain or a Clarence Thomas or a Marco Rubio. It was just last week the Washington Post tried to destroy Rubio with a multi-part hit piece, and they're still at it. Alberto Gonzalez, and there's one other Hispanic guy, a brilliant, I'm having a mental block on who it is, was also nominated by Bush for a prominent position. It was I'm having a mental block on his name, but took him out, destroyed him. That's what this Herman Cain getting too uppity. The danger is if a black or an Hispanic rises to the top and demonstrates it can happen with conservative principles as the juice, self-reliance, hard work, conservative values, all those things. If you can get there without the Democrat Party putting you there or helping you to get there, you represent the biggest threat the Democrat Party has. That's why Clarence Thomas had to be taken out. As he got where he got without one bit of assistance of the Democrat Party left, and as such, nothing they could do. They didn't own him when he got there. They didn't control him when he got there. And they're not going to permit Herman Cain keep this up. And I really don't want you to doubt me on this. This may sound simplistic or maybe not even possible. It's just the Democrats don't think that way, Rush, really. They do. The Democrat Party and liberalism built on a series of lies. And anything that exposes the lies, particularly anything that exposes them brightly, has got to be dealt with. So Herman Cain has become the enemy of the moment. So here's Scarborough again. This is Scarborough. No, actually this is last night, Soundbite 5. This is a full soundbite from the Time magazine contributor, and I guess he works at MSNBC, Toure, about the Republican primary and Herman Cain. And Lawrence O'Donnell, the host of the show, said, Toure, there's just this blender of Republican racial politics has gotten mixed up together. I can't make any sense of it. Guide us through this.
Well, one thing I see, you saw Rush Limbaugh talking about, we see who the real racists are, and Clarence Thomas is using that same sort of bazooka to fire back, is that when we point out moments of racism or moments of minstrelsy in Herman Cain's example, they just fire back and they just use the word racism. That's racist. You're racist. So it becomes this sort of negating tool that we'll just say racism wherever we see any racial politics taking place. We'll say the race card is being played anytime somebody points out a moment of racism, and that just sort of muddles the conversation to where a lot of people are like, I don't want to be part of this at all.
Okay, now that's Toure on MSNBC, where the motto is resist we much. And he's a standalone commentator. The guy, Lawrence O'Donnell, said, please break this down for us and explain it to us. Did any of you understand what Toure was saying? What is he saying? What was he saying? Because I know what he was trying to say. What he was trying to say is, they are stealing our technique. They're stealing our technique, and they're muddying the waters by using our technique. We're the ones who have exclusive right to the race card. We are the ones who get to decide who's racist and who isn't. And when guys like Limbaugh come along and call us racists, why, that just muddies the water and makes everybody want to forget all this and leave. We own it. We own who's a racist and who isn't. Limbaugh can't do that. Limbaugh and these others come along and say, we're being racist. We own that ploy. Why what? Why what now? Oh, because they haven't taken him out. The reason they're reacting and the reason they're getting upset, they really thought that last night that was the end of it. Herman Cain was going to be finished by last night. They also, look, if you ask me these questions, and I have to answer them since you ask them, I'm very uncomfortable answering this, but They're still ticked off that I'm offended. What they're really mad at here is that somebody or a group of people on our side in the media could maybe save whoever it is they go out to destroy. So they seek, in this case, Herman Cain. Okay, we're going to take Herman Cain out. We get our dander up and we put a stop to it or slow them down. That's going to make them mad, too. Pure and simple. And then if we, in their perverted eyes, steal one of their techniques, i.e. playing the race card or accusing the race card of being played, then they really get ticked off. And that's what pt3 was saying here. Well, they just fire back and they just use the word racism. That's racist. You're racist. That's right, pt3. For 23 years I've been hearing it. Maybe not from you, but people all over your side of the aisle. For 23 years, I'm a racist. And I'm not. Never have been. You guys are. We say it. You don't like it. Yeah, and that's exactly. They used it on one of their own, and we caught it and pointed it out. Boy, that 2008 presidential campaign was rife with racism on the Democrat side.